Let's have a look. I noticed that my videos in the past, because this was supposed to be on the 20th. Weird, don't matter, whatever. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Olivia. Okay, good. Fire away if you have any questions or anything. I've got a few videos planned over the next few days. They're a bit more controversial than my usual videos. I'm going to start branching out a bit. I'll still be a bit sensitive about the issues though, but one of them is going to be about like an address to new mums and the importance it is to take health into consideration with their children and the benefits of, you know, breastfeeding. And for like most people on my channel are being formula fed. You read the ingredients in this formula, it's awful. And then you realize that services like UNICEF, they do the aid for other countries, do not take formula for mums and children in other countries. I think it's the World Health Organization said there is no replacement for breast milk. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on it, but I think it's really important. No, yeah, I know I'm going to get an onslaught. I know, because there's a lot of people that there's like a campaign of fed is best. You know, don't shame mums for breastfeeding, but it's not about that. It's not to do with the mums. It's to do with the health of the child, which should be first above all else. No, not supplements. I've basically going back to sticking to gluten-free is a massive one. Early nights, simplifying my food, you know, lots of things. There's a lot. I have a lot of theories about, you know, when I recovered, I had a year and a half where I felt like a 10-year-old, and then I've had like a year this year that's been very difficult and a stressful time for me mentally. And I went off the wagon. I started eating gluten and stuff. You know, I could go about my life. I was fine, but I wasn't feeling as good as I did before, and I'm starting to get to that feeling again. And it's just sticking to my diet, learning how to cope with the emotional stress and stuff in a better way. Things like that. I think it's really important. But no, I know there'll be an onslaught. You know, there's 2 children I know in my life right now, and one is the most content child you'll ever see. Barely cries. And those parents are literally every single every possible outcome is done in a good way. The child is put first every time. And that child is so content, you know, breastfed, no toxic nappies, no toxic anything going on the skin. Everything has been done right, and the child is the healthiest child you'll ever see. On the other hand, there's the other child that I know who's had all the vaccines whilst being formula fed, is already on asthma inhalers before the age of 1, and has had a meningitis scare, just everything going wrong. The child it cries all the time, really unhappy, unsettled. You know, obviously it's okay sometimes, but unsettled generally compared to the other child. Now, this is where I'm going to do a video on the effects the body play on your mental health. Psychologists have missed a massive part of what it means to be mentally healthy. If you have a body that is burdened and, you know, weighed down, it's very hard to have a good mental health. Anyway, I'm gonna do those videos this week. Talking about child's health when you have no kids is like walking into the lion's den without a weapon. Yeah, I know. Someone's got to say it. Yeah, Kim. A lot of like I was the same. I had very little progress in what was it? Well, I started to get ill around 2003. Crashed 2006, 7, and then I made little to no progress until 2014. So I understand that. It's hard though, sometimes for a reason beyond your control. Some people cannot breastfeed, and as a mum you already feel guilty enough for that. No, I know. I'm gonna make recommendations for you know, if you're gonna formula feed, at least find something that's organic, has decent ingredients and everything. That sounds like my boys, like night and day. One breastfed, one only breastfed 1 month. Yeah, I was formula fed completely, and I had started having health issues. You know, like most of my life. It's just, you know, there's lots of reasons, you know, but it's a difficult subject. No problem, adrenal recovery. Hi James, when we finally get fatigue sorted and know how to rest and manage pain, how do we learn to manage the brain? Can't take anything in reading. When we finally get the fatigue sorted and know how to rest and manage pain, you don't usually, for me, my pain went first rather than the fatigue. You don't learn to manage the brain. It's not a mental thing. It wasn't a mental thing for me. As my body got healthy, those things naturally just fixed in themselves. Does anyone else get worse around the full moon? Did you get any sudden light-headed feelings like you're going to faint, different from the general one? Last about, oh no, all the time, especially when I stood up or held anything above my head, especially if I gripped my hands. Just, I think those are typically POT symptoms. Like the idea of mental health vid. Gabe and mate is a must listen to this area. At least I found them helpful and interesting. That's good. I've significantly changed diet thanks to your advice based on your recovery story. Thank you for taking the time. What I will say is simplicity is best. 6 months into recovery, got lots of improvement, which is great. I was forced to do a Lyme test by my dad and got diagnosed yesterday with Lyme disease. I find this mentally tough. The doctor advises me to take some sort of strong herbs. What do you think about herbs? I think that it's better than doing, you know, pharmaceutical drugs like antibiotics. That if you go on the channel Arnold's Way and then you type in Lyme disease, you'll see people that were diagnosed with Lyme disease and went the traditional route and did loads of antibiotics, even IV antibiotics, and never recovered until they sorted out everything in their life. So herbs, there's no problem. I mean, you could do that. It's just they're usually really expensive. But if you are already getting a lot of improvement, this is why I avoided trying to get a Lyme's test, because I think it would play on my mind more if I was like, wow, I'm diagnosed with Lyme disease. That is it. That's all I've got to focus on, you know? I just went, I need to fix my lifestyle and trust my body will recover. And that's how I approach things. But you've already seen improvements. Focus on the good. When I was born, I projectile vomited for 8 months straight and refused to keep down my mother's milk or anything at all. Ah, yeah, that's not good. Can you remind me again of your thoughts on healing our guts before anything else? I've started getting into detail too much again the last few days, and it's doing my head in. Healing the guts. Yeah, I wouldn't say I healed my gut before anything else. I just went, right, here's a healthy diet. I'm going to stick to this. I'm not going to eat any shit. And that was it. That's all I did for diet. I just ate very simply, whole foods, tried not to think about it too much, did loads of probiotics, but I question whether that was the reason I recovered in terms of my gut health, but it probably didn't hurt me. But I did everything at once. I kind of addressed everything, kind of. I feel worse instantly after eating fruit and sugar, so I'm trying no fruit for a while. Did you ever try high L-lysine, low arginine antiviral diet before you came to your diet? No, never tried it. But I know some people do react to sugar. Like I always recommend cutting the sugar out. As for eating fruit, you know, it's a person to person. Like some people have different sensitivities to other people, and you kind of have to figure it out yourself. Yeah, I'm not going to do antibiotics. Never in my life. Yeah, I don't think I need the herbs, but my dad wants me to do them. Well, for peace of mind, maybe you should just do them so your dad gets off your back. Because I know that having someone, you know, thinking you're doing, you know, it's not going to harm you, I don't think. But people expect too much from herbs, I think. I think they're really healthy, but, you know, I know that some people typically would do these routines of just herbs but not really change anything else in their life and expect far too much. But I do think that herbs have healing properties. My stools are rock hard even though I eat so much fiber, like only fruit and veg and stuff. I get extreme nausea. Do you go to the toilet every day? That's weird. Do you take any multivitamins? Before I really focused on my recovery, I did take fish oil and stuff, but I cut that out. I switched to an algae-based thing, so you cut out the middleman, the fish, and that's the oil I took on and off sporadically. I didn't take it every day. However, I have started I bought a raw multivitamin that I take like a couple of times a week, just for the sake of it, because it all comes from organic veg and fruit, and it's there's no shit in it, so that's what I take at the moment. It's funny, but when I laugh, I feel a lot worse. Maybe it's due to hyperventilation. Maybe. I go a few times a week, but I'm constipated no matter what. It's been 6 years ago. Agony and roof. I can't say I had the opposite end of the spectrum. I never had a normal stool for years. So, did your liver feel hard and painful, like you weren't filtering properly? Well, what I will say, it's important not to like focus on things like that. Go, oh my god, my liver feels a bit hard, and then you start imagining the fact that your liver's not filtering properly and stuff, and then you go on to do these liver cleanses that are just insane. I did that stuff, just insanity. The last time I did a liver flush, I projectile vomited within seconds of waking up. And then I remember thinking straight afterwards, there has to be another way. I got sick 2 years ago to the point I couldn't move my right leg and I couldn't sleep for a year. I'm 90% back to normal. Your videos helped tremendously. You articulated the symptoms I had. Thanks. Awesome, Jeff. You know, the last time I did a live stream, there were like 3-4 people that said they were pretty much recovered after a year of sorting everything out. I want people to make videos. So you know what? I need to make a video saying, please make videos so I can upload them to my channel, just so people can see. That would be really cool and helpful for everyone else as well. Swollen lymph nodes and neck. Yes, I used to have swollen lymph nodes around my ears and typically in my neck. Also, I had swollen lymph nodes under my armpits before. Have you ever tried salt vitamin C? Doing that now? I added pink salt to my drinking water and ate a lot of high vitamin C foods, but I didn't do any routine like that. But constipation doesn't lead to regular stools. Typically, no. You know, if you're constipated and you're eating all that fiber and water and stuff, it doesn't. I don't see how that's happening. Don't know. It's me. You'll have to have a look into that. I had small hard stools several times a day, but when I had IBS, even though I was eating a lot of fiber, I think increasing the ratio of soluble and insoluble fiber helped me. Well, have a go of that, Esme. I just got a call today to say I have non-diabetic hypoglycemia, low blood sugar thoughts. I eat barely any sugar. This is what I mean. Like, people can get diabetes when they don't eat any sugar. It depends. It's like there's 2 ways you get sugar. If you eat loads of animal fats and you eat, basically the cells get coated in fat, which hinders the body's ability to absorb the sugar. That means that the sugar gets like caught in the bloodstream. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum where you're not eating fats, but you're taking so much sugar in that the body can't absorb it quick enough. So it's like a juggling act, really. Did you wake up the same time every day? I know about early night. I'm in doubt about what time I will get up. Don't worry about it. Definitely stop worrying about when you wake up. It's not a big deal. Focus on just sleeping well. My stomach is so screwed, it's unreal. I have done infinite research for 6 years and every doctor, and no matter what, his stomach is rock hard. Esme, how much water do you drink? Have you ever tried probiotics or anything like that? Yeah, okay, you could possibly not digest your food properly, but if she's constipated and the stools are just normal stools, then she must be digesting. Because usually when I had my stomach issues, my stool was like mud. Like, it was literally within an hour or 2 of eating food, it was just like, sorry to be too graphic, but just I wasn't digesting properly. So maybe there is another end of the spectrum. Oh, no meat for you. Maybe you could try fasting. Intermittent fasting, maybe. I know that has an effect on blood sugar levels. But then again, if you have adrenal problems, it's probably not beneficial. So you don't eat any sugar, not even fruit. Oh, also another thing to consider, how many calories do you eat a day? What's your body weight? I've been like 80% recovered for many months now, but it feels like I can't take the last step. I feel good, but I'm still insensitive to activity. Don't do any. Okay, look, you're 80%. That's really, really good. And at that stage, I would say hold back on the exercise. Keep charging yourself like you would an iPhone until you get to that 90, 95, 100%. And that's what I did. If you feel sensitive to activity, that's your body saying, ease off, don't bother just yet. Just keep up the good routine of good foods, good night's sleep, and everything else. Yeah, I can't digest anything. I vomit back up for years. It's been hell. Do you have an eating disorder? Or is it literally you feel like vomiting? Or just you vomit? Can you recommend a good vegan probiotic? I really liked Health Aid. I think it was called that. I think that was a decent one. There's also the highest grade one. It's like VSL, something like that. But I've only tried that a little bit, so I can't really comment on it. Eating before bed with adrenal fatigue. Yeah, I used to eat a handful of nuts before bed with adrenal fatigue. Well, when I was recovering. You very rarely eat. So you don't eat enough calories and you're underweight. I know that sometimes that can have an effect. You might want to have a look into that. There's so many different things that could be affecting it. It's you know, all I'm seeing is what you write to me, but you have a long story behind yourself. So it's just I can only throw out ideas. I don't really know. I have swollen lymph nodes for 2 years now, but I had a biopsy done and my doctor said it's nothing to worry about. Did you have swollen lymph nodes for the whole time you have been sick? I think so. I wouldn't worry about it then. I used to put bentonite clay on my underarms. I don't know whether that actually was the reason they went away or the fact that I just recovered and my body was healthy again. But as for being swollen and tender, your lymph nodes, I think it's understandable. You know, a lot of people come to this with Epstein-Barr virus and glandular fever, so your body's fighting something. You know, there's lots of different reasons. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't seem logical that I've almost felt normal for 3-4 months and still can't do much, but just got to keep patient. Yeah, just also, you don't want to go into things too hard. Definitely don't run. That's my recommendations. Walking. Do walking for 6 months once you feel up to it. I felt a bit like that 2 months ago. Tried to go to the gym and had to back off because it made me feel lightheaded by the end of the week, so I could tell it didn't help. Yeah, I tell people don't rush into things. When you're starting to feel better, go even more conservative if you want with your energy. That's what I did. Running is possibly the worst exercise for people recovering. Even when you're fully recovered. When I fully recovered, I stayed off running for at least 6-8 months before I started to run. And it paid off for me. So I did cycling, you know, things like that. Lightweight cycling, walking. That was my routine when I recovered. And as with CFS, I think it's a combination of things. Under-eating, unable to digest food properly, mood disorder for years, though cool now. Kind of weird diagnosis though, cheers. Yeah. There was a study done in World War II where they took a bunch of guys and put them on low-calorie diets and saw the effects that it had on them. And I will say that the mood disorder thing can sometimes be a symptom of your body. Of course you can ask me a question. What are your thoughts on medical marijuana. I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's incredibly expensive though. And I tell people personally, I think that money is best spent on good quality food. So I personally think that's the best way to use your money. Medical marijuana is so expensive, and people try and give the impression that you just recover from simply taking medical marijuana, from even things like cancer. I know that it's supposed to be very good, but come on, you can't eat a pizza and then just pop marijuana to fix overall health and everything else. I think basically over time I made improvements in my mental health through hard work and also gradually cut meat and then dairy. That's good. I've been a bit unable to do anything much physically for the last 2 years or so. Can walk very little distance north. Some days only a few steps at a time, and would advise, what advice would you give? Don't walk. I couldn't walk for 5 minutes. At my worst, getting up the stairs was just exhausting, you know. Even my vision would fade. Like, I'd lose half my vision. It would go black from going up the stairs. So I recommend just resting. When you're at that state, your body does not want to move. Have you tried Mag 07 from iHerb? It's a form of magnesium that the body don't use, but soften your stool. No, I've never tried anything like See you, William. Thanks, Mike. CBD will help boost my immune system. Did give me a headache though, presuming detox. Possibly. If yeah, no, I completely healed now. Been healed. I was healed as soon as I started my YouTube channel. I had in December last year, which was December of 2016, I got glandular fever. And I thought I was relapsing, but I actually managed to get over glandular fever very quickly. I just went back to my routine that cured me from my chronic illness in the first place. So, yeah, completely recovered now. I could cry. You make so much more sense than my doctor. She just gives me painkillers, Vertigo tablets, sleeping tablets. Good to know all you guys are all feeling better slowly. Gives me hope. Matt, doctors are so ignorant. When I had glandular fever in 2016, I am educated now on my health. When I recovered, I was educated on what it took for my body to heal and how the body works. I went to my doctor. I had glandular fever. I was diagnosed with glandular fever, and they gave me antibiotics. And I said, I don't feel comfortable taking these antibiotics because glandular fever is a virus. And the doctor turned around to me and said, you will not recover unless you take these antibiotics. 1 second. Right. What have I got here? This is from 2016. They wanted me to take all these antibiotics for glandular fever, which is a fucking virus. And she got so upset that I even questioned her choice of giving me antibiotics when it was a virus. Doctors can be so ignorant. You cannot trust them with your health at all. They will land you in deeper shit than you were to start with. Seriously, it makes me so fucking angry. I was hearing about a friend of my mum's kid who's 13, and the doctors are just prescribing her painkillers, sleeping tablets and everything for her fibromyalgia. Doctors failed everyone here. Doctors fail most people. They don't know how to cure anything. All they know is how to prescribe things. Doctors, in their 7 years of being trained to be a doctor, are given like 5 hours of nutrition, and it's not even good. Anyway, for the sleeping tablets, I was prescribed Zopiclone. I don't recommend sleeping tablets as a way to fix poor sleep. I just had to ride the wave and fix my insomnia on my own. I also feel severely dehydrated even though I drink gallons of water. Try putting a pinch of sea salt in your drinking water. That's what I did during recovery. I've been away from my parents nearly 3 years. I was just turned 16 and I want to go back, but I'm scared of the consequences. I just want to go home and be happy. I don't want life problems, etc. Maybe you should go home. I don't know enough about your story, but I'm not sure really what to comment on that. Did you use toxic binders, activated charcoal, bentonite clay? I actually did. Occasionally I did consume bentonite clay, like probably 3 or 4 times. But I did do detox baths that contained a lot of, I used to put bentonite clay all over my body. Now, whether that did anything, I don't know, but I did it. It made me feel better. So you don't have to be raw vegan to heal for chronic illness? No, absolutely not. I don't promote a raw vegan diet at all. I think it's actually worse for adrenal fatigue, things like that. I consume fruits, raw fruits. I think raw fruits are healthy, but to base my whole diet around fruits in a cold country, no. I personally think things like, you know, like I've been having recently, like sweet potato with avocado on, broccoli pea soup, things like that. Very easy for the body to digest and, you know, assimilate and get the nutrients from. That's my personal opinion on what's good food. Yeah, doctors are very annoying. Pisses me off. Such a basic concept, bacteria vs virus. I know. It's ridiculous. The only thing I was tempted to take from the doctor was melatonin to help with insomnia. I'm trying to balance out without anything. Good choice. Because if you start taking melatonin, your body will go, okay, we don't need to make it anymore. You want to have sleep without anything. Doctors don't, yeah. My vision is affected, difficulty focusing and blurred at times. That's totally normal. My eyesight got a lot better after recovery. And when I recovered, my eyesight was fine. However, in the past year, my eyesight's got worse because of this. I'm really cutting down on it because I know it's affecting my eyesight. When I went to the doctor saying I have adrenal issues, she laughed at me out of the office. They're so arrogant. It fucking pisses me off. They really think because they've been to university, they know everything and they can't be questioned. You know, I respect a lot of doctors' decisions in some ways, you know, especially when it's life-saving surgery and things like that. But to have the arrogance to believe that you are right no matter what is... Anyone that thinks they know everything is full of shit. OG Mellow. What did you... no, I said I wasn't really sure what to say to that comment. I think that if that's how you're feeling and you don't want any life problems, obviously you don't want life problems. And I think that being able to be in a situation where you can relax is really important towards recovery. Yeah, doctors are trained in medicine. Those moments are gifts. It's how we know when to move on. I can't get rid of my pain. I don't really understand. I feel better when I walk, but should I stop walking since That sounds like an adrenal thing. Because I know that when you get that wired feeling, it just feels horrible. You want to kick your legs out. You know, you get restless legs and everything. Are you sure it's not an adrenal problem? Or are you just getting standard pain throughout the day? Because that sounds more like fibromyalgia. When I cleaned up my diet and my sleep started to get sorted out, my pain went away. You don't have to be raw vegan to heal. You do not have to be raw vegan to heal. Sure, people do heal with raw vegan diets, you know. Go on the channel Arnold's Way and look at the people with Lyme disease that recovered on a raw vegan diet. Possible. I personally wouldn't follow a raw vegan diet, but everyone's different. Depends what climate you're in as well. I feel crazy. All these diets everyone says help their IBS make my tummy worse. Maybe it's so difficult, Esme. It's like, I don't know if you said earlier, but have you tried the probiotics and everything? Hi James, I've been feeling generally good for the last 6 months and can generally walk 30 minutes, no problem, but my mental fatigue really lagging behind. Just give it time. You know, this is what people don't see, is that you made these improvements, you're walking 30 minutes with no problem, but you're going, but I'm not fully there yet. What I say to that is give yourself more time. The more you're consistent with sleep, you keep getting rewarded the longer you do it. Sleep is so important. Sleep's the number one. Should I restrict calories to heal? I did the opposite. I was in a calorie surplus for all my recovery. That's personally what helped me. But there are people that doesn't work with. It depends on person to person. Is green juicing good for adrenal fatigue? From my personal experience, green juicing made me feel so much worse. I cooked the greens and ate the greens. Raw greens didn't. No, not for me. And I think it's something to do with the oxalates. Like when you get loads of spinach and you juice it and you compress it, it's maybe too many oxalates for the system to handle at one time. Also, I know that things like kale, like draw things like cadmium. So if you get kale from a poor source and you just compress it without the fiber, you may be getting heavy metals or something. Like, you know, not dangerous levels, but enough to make you feel worse. Like, all I'm going to say on that subject actually is that I personally felt worse on green juices. I honestly think that just eating what feels right to you is the best way. Absolutely. I totally agree with your comments on doctors. I've lost count of number of times I've been told I won't recover. I've started reverse therapy, would recommend, straightforward, easy to understand. I got to go to getting in my strict bedtime. Cheers, James. Love to all suffering. Night. Hi there. There are people I've heard of that have improved dramatically with supplements to help their hormones, such as prenolone and DHEA, GABA, and many vitamins and minerals. Do you think these are truly helpful? I looked into DHEA, but I wanted my body to regulate my hormones without the need of supplements. So I know that they definitely have their place for some people, but I didn't go down that route. I won't say, though, that they're not helpful, because obviously they are helpful to some people. One sec. One sec. What is reverse therapy? I go through so many symptom changes, it's hard to know if I'm getting better. It oxalates fucked me up. Yeah, I felt worse that way. I wanted to go vegan, but I am already underweight, so I think I'll have to stick to paleo and gluten-free diet. Personally, I gained weight on a vegan diet very easily. I gained weight on a vegan diet compared to a vegetarian diet. So it all depends on how you do it. you know. I can pack away calories like nothing on a vegan diet. Yeah, as for symptom changes, I try not to worry too much. If you felt like you literally have not changed at all in the last 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and you've made loads of changes, then it's time to start looking for something else. You know, other things to try. What personal development did chronic illness induce in you? I feel like the main motivation driving me forward is the psychological growth that's happening. I'd need to do a video on that. I'm a different person. It's definitely given me a lot of confidence, I'll say that. I'm the same. Juices, smoothies, fucked up my blood sugar. Yeah, I recommend just eating your food. In the very beginning, I did do smoothies, but in the end, wasn't. I knew they weren't optimal. I just ended up just eating my food. What supplements do you recommend for recovery? I always tell people, if you haven't got the money to spend on supplements, put it into good food, but there are supplements that are worthwhile. Depends on your climate. If you don't get much sun, vitamin D is a must. I took zinc twice a week, 3 times a week, and I took a B12 every day, most days. Cannibal Saw does help. I use brand Koi. I live in the US, so not sure how readily available it is in other countries. Yeah, it's a lot more available in the US than it is in the UK. It's really expensive in the UK, and all the good things I've heard from it, I definitely think it has healing properties. Thank you for answering my question, no problem. What do you think about alpha lipoic acid for chronic fatigue? What is that again? I recognize the name. I can't remember what it is. Just reminding people, the moon is apparent, really bright tonight. Off topic. Oh yeah, it's red, isn't it? Also, sorry, it's typo for anyone interested. It's pregnenolone. Thanks, Tordy Monday. Have ME fibro pain all over my body 24/7, chronic headaches, but I have insomnia, so it's so fucking hard to fix. I've been taking sleeping pills, big mistake, so no, it's... I'm telling you right now, when you recover, you will be able to do anything, because there is nothing worse than that, having fibro pains with insomnia. My fibro pains were pretty much all in my arms and my legs. Mostly in my arms, especially here, for whatever reason. My pain went away as I completely revamped my diet to a low inflammatory food diet, whole food diet, and fixing my sleep and relaxing, getting into that state of just being able to relax. I believe that fibro is caused from chronic fight or flight continuously. So basically, your body pulls into your limbs for fight or flight. You know, you're either going to run away or you're going to fight. So the blood's pooling in these areas, and if you're chronically stressed out and in fight or flight, the blood's just staying there, and it's not, you know, going to where it needs to be. So the gut, you know, when you're digesting food, I found that when I was in fight or flight all the time, I couldn't digest food. So yeah, to not go too far into it, I believe that what I just said, but I fixed it from changing my lifestyle. Lots more energy, but still in pain. That's good, but what kind of pain are you in? I don't know if you said above. So have more energy is a good thing, but I know that you said, oh no, you're a different person. I ate very healthy, then my digestive system settled down. I was able to eat anything. For me, I think my vagus nerve caused my digestive problems, heart palpitations, and breathing issues. I won't pretend that I know what vagus nerve means, but that's good nonetheless. What do you think of the effects of electromagnetic waves? To be careful, I used to turn off all my switches at night time. I used to stay away from technology as much as I could. I had a rule where I wouldn't go on technology until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think there's potentially something there. After all, it's something new. We don't know enough about it. We may look back in 50 years from now and go, whoa, we were messing people up. So it's best to be safe than sorry. I just kind of went back to how someone would have lived hundreds of years ago. Tried to the best I could. How long were you 90% for? Did you find your recovery sped up? Oh, absolutely. My recovery sped up at the end like a snowball. For the first 6 months, I didn't really notice much of a difference, but it was when when the consistency was there, month after month. It's like the snowball. It just was a little snowball, and it just went like that really quickly. So I definitely snowballed in recovery at the very end. They don't cure anything. They just give you a band-aid basically for the symptoms, yeah? Kathy, there is a woman based in Durham who does consultants via Skype, works on noticing your symptoms at the outset and gives strategies on how to address these. ALA is an antioxidant that helps glucose return into energy. I used to have a lot of ALA, and that comes from flax seeds, right? I used to have flax seeds every day. And I had hemp as well. Hemp hearts. Really healthy. I would say hemp is one of the healthiest foods that I used to consume. But of course, they're all healthy, you know, all the natural things. You know, like avocado, sweet potato, you know, they're all good for you. You heard of black seed oil? I have a Muslim friend, and it's in the Quran. It cures every disease except death. He has never been to a doctor. Didn't know if you had heard of it. No, I've never heard of it. From my own experience and my frustration with this illness, I'm very skeptical and take a massive handful of salt every time someone claims that one single thing is the reason why they are so healthy. I could never recover from doing any one thing. It had to be everything that changed before I saw any kind of a difference. Can you eat anything now and not react to it? I would say no. I feel my best when I stick to the diet I recovered on. Oh, I will say that if I eat gluten now, I will not react the same as I did 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I'd crash. But now it's just like I don't really notice anything, but I just have a gut feeling that it isn't right for me. And sometimes I feel like I don't know. I just know that I feel best on the diet that I recovered on. You know. Martin Daniel, if you look up elite health and wellness on YouTube, he's nearly fully recovered and tells a lot about good supplements on YouTube. Barbara Hoffman has lots of videos on adrenal fatigue. Thanks, Kim. We'll look into and really useful info, but James's advice is really great. Thanks, Toy Time. You have probably asked this before, and I commented on video asking, I was sorry from repeating stuff. Did you wait for your brain fog to completely go before you started walking? Now, because it was such a long time ago, it's hard to look at every stage of recovery and when each symptom went. I'm sure you can understand. When you recover, you will see that your brain likes to forget that it ever happened. Your brain likes to go, just forget about it. Like a bad dream, it just forgets about it. But what I will say is that if you go for a walk and you feel better for it over the following days, just keep going. It will definitely help, you know, move the lymphatic system, and I think that will definitely help brain fog. I think there's a difference between brain fog and, you know, feeling really knackered and in fight or flight and everything. So you kind of have to judge it on how you're feeling. Always listen to your body. Do antidepressants hinder recovery? I fell into deep depression due to stressful event in my life. I couldn't pull myself out of depression, so I had no choice but to take them. I had a really, 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 really hard time with really deep depression. I didn't want to live another day. I personally didn't take anything, and I know that not everyone can do that, and it's better to be safe than sorry in terms of, you know, if you're feeling suicidal. But I can't say whether or not it hinders recovery because I never took them. So I wanted to be I wanted to take nothing. I wanted my body to be how it should be. And that's what I eventually got. But, you know, you can make all the lifestyle changes and definitely feel a lot better and then wean off them once you're feeling better. But I won't, you know, this is something you'll have to figure out for yourself. Yeah, with you using technology after 3 p.m, I do that now. If I look at earlier, it drains me. It's weird. If I used to look at technology in the morning, it used to have such a negative impact on me. I don't know why that is. Any ideas for snacks before bed? I used to take a handful of like walnuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, stuff like that. If anyone on here has fibromyalgia, check out my column, Chronically Candidated Mum. Starting to get restless limbs, so checking out. Thanks so much. That's a good idea, you know. Whenever you start to get restless and those feelings of the adrenal wiredness, stop whatever you're doing. That's what I used to do. If I used to go on my computer at 3 o'clock and start to get that feeling, turned it off straight away. Didn't hesitate. I didn't mess around. Thank you so much. Your videos are so helpful. It's no problem either. That's what they're there for. James, can you put up a wee list of vitamin supplements you use? Because I can't remember all you say. Well, brain fog is best. Okay. Vitamin D, vitamin B5, zinc, plus natural antidepressants are 5-HTP. I know that there's a herb as well that's well known for antidepressant. I took it, but I don't know if I noticed anything. Kathy, this is the first thing I've found that helped me turn down my fight or flight. Google and win if you want to pursue free consultation on a good one. I've battled with tired but wired feeling ever since I started getting testosterone injections. Yeah. Okay, look. When I was ill, I probably had low testosterone, and that is because my body was just not functioning properly. If you are like having all these health issues and you're just going to a doctor and he goes, you have low testosterone, having testosterone injections, you're not fixing why you have low testosterone. So you could be causing more harm than good. So my personal opinion is to get your testosterone levels sorted on your own. That's my opinion. If you get to a good level of health but you still have low testosterone, then maybe that is something you want to do. But I think there probably is a connection. You know, if you're getting them ever since testosterone injections, there's probably a connection. Did you cut out stressful family members after your recovery? As best as I could. Night, honeybee. Any tips of getting rid of acne beside diet? What causes it? You know, stress could be one, hormonal. I think that diet plays a massive role in it. See you later, honeybee. Also, okay, my best acne treatment is to not put anything on my skin apart from argan oil, and I used to do clay masks, and that's how I got my skin looking good. When I had like kind of bits of scarring, I used to do a daily routine of dry brushing and then clay mask and then put the oil on, and that's my routine every day. Was my routine every day. Have you heard of Illumilight? No. Is that for seasonal affective disorder or whatever it is, you know, for vitamin D? I personally never did it, but I know some people do. I took medication and feel it really helped me and sped up recovery as I was sleeping 10, 12 hours a night for 6 months. Now I've come off them. I need to work on my sleep, but in a better place now. That's good. I'm off. Thank you for your help as always. Check out that black seed oil. Okay. How long did you do dry brushing? Did it help your circulation? I did dry brushing every morning and night. It was part of my daily routine. How long did it take you to start exercising? What sort of exercise did you start with? It took me about 10 to 12 months before I started doing walking, and I really slowly increased my walking. Every time I did a walk of any, you know, if I started out with a 20-minute walk, 15-minute walk, I would check back over the next few days, you know, to see how it made me feel, because sometimes you can get delayed malaise, you know. So when I felt okay, I would up it and then wait a few days, then up it, and then just kept going that way. And the exercise I started off with was just walking for the first like 6 months or so, and then I started doing light weights and stuff like that. Then I started cycling. Kind of. It makes your room brighter, supposedly 30 minutes or so before you need to wake up. I didn't have any blinds on my windows. I kind of just went with the sun. Army recommendations for detox. Amy recommend any recommendations for detox besides detox box? I only have a shower. I'm vegan, sleeping at 10, trying to rest as much as possible, but I'm not seeing a lot of progress yet. It takes a while. It took me months to get my sleeping pattern anywhere near, you know, good. You know, I just did dry brushing. Obviously my diet, you know, Whole Foods and everything. Making sure I was chilling out. You could do clay body and then get in the shower. I'd probably do that. Thanks as always, James. You're a breath of fresh air and hope. Talk soon. No night, Kathy. Was it strange going for your first walk, be outside around people? I wasn't really around people because I am kind of out in the sticks a bit. I know it's a village, but it's nowhere near it's like if I walk at the speed I can go now, it will take me about an hour to get to the nearest town. Was it strange? No, because I felt like I earned it. Like after the effort that I put into recovery, I was like, I should hope so. What do you think about weed as a coping mechanism? Awful. It's not a popular opinion, but I just think that when it comes to things like that, I don't think it's a good coping mechanism. Maybe it'd be better to vape it, you know, or have it in a brownie or something, you know, like a hash cake. But if you're really depressed and, you know, you're making good changes, but you still need that crutch, go for it. You're only going to find out by doing it. I crashed and was at the worst last September. Then my dog got cancer and I died in December. Now I'm paranoid there's mold in my house causing us to get ill. Maybe you want to get that checked out, because I definitely know that mold can have an impact on people's health, a big impact. Hey James, question. I know you say to not do anything you're up to, but what if I feel worse when I sit around? I've been stuck with this. Go off how you feel. That's my advice. If you feel worse sitting around or resting and listening to audiobooks and stuff like that, and you feel better for going for a walk, then do it. But I know a lot of people, they just get sick and tired of being in the house and stuff, and then they push themselves and they end up in a worse mess. So it's case to case, is person to person basis. I can't see any, but do you think I'm being a crazy person? Possibly. I know there's ways you can test the mold in your house, like in a Petri dish or something. I was talking to a guy last night that said that. Maybe you want to have a look into that. I'm going to turn the stream off soon, guys. So I'm going to go to bed. I'll take a couple more questions. The state fight or flight is horrible on your body and it produces adrenal burnout. A relaxed body and mind helps. Your mental state has so much to do with your physical state. It's intertwined. You can't escape one from the other. Really struggling to give up coffee. Only have half a cup a day and this is only caffeine I have. I want to stop it and try every day, but I can't do it. Makes me feel better. It's a stimulant and it makes you feel better because it's a stimulant. In the long run, it's not a good idea. You want to feel good without stimulants. I personally can't say that I won't recommend coffee. I know how bad it made me feel if I ever touched the stuff. You know, in the long run, I mean. Thanks for your help and recently started having saunas. Really good for detox. Sauna, if you have access to a sauna, you're very lucky. That's a really good idea. What's your opinion on changing mindsets such as lightning process? I've heard some people improve, but I'm unsure. I think the lightning process is a massive rip-off. They charge like over $1,000 to teach you this thing. I think people expect way too much from just doing the lightning process. I don't think you can fix a fundamental issue with physical health by just changing your mindset. A lot of the time, your mindset is so poor because your health is so poor. I think that there's no harm in trying the lightning process, but people expect too much from it. I'm really struggling. I feel so awful. I'm mostly bedbound. I find what I watch TV because I can't focus on audiobooks because I feel so awful. Any advice? I actually had the opposite. When I was at my worst, I felt better just listening and closing my eyes rather than staring at a screen. So it really comes down to you having to navigate. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself if it's helping you, and just go with how you feel. Anyway, I'll do one more question, then I'll go. It's been a busy live stream actually. I think I was over 30 viewers at one point, which is good. Right then, I guess that's it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be uploading a few videos this week on various topics. Controversial, probably gonna get my head snapped off in some respects, but I gotta say my piece. Thought on taking psychedelics, now you're better. It's funny you should say that. I've taken psychedelics twice. I'm not sure I want to do a video on it yet, because if I wanted to join the police or whatever, no. But I found it quite eye-opening, to be honest. You know, people like to scaremonger people for taking a mushroom out of the ground, and then they're willing to prescribe all sorts. They're like they want to destroy your gut when you don't even have an infection. You know, that's not the amount of antibiotics I've been given by a doctor when I've not even needed it is shocking. You've talked a lot about eating a lot to recover from adrenal fatigue and also fasting for poor digestion. It's a difficult one. You know, this is the tricky thing, is that personally, I would stick to eating a lot for adrenal fatigue. But if you have poor digestion, you need to figure out why you have poor digestion and kind of fix it. You know, fasting isn't gonna, you know, if you just fast for a couple of days, you could do more damage than good. You know, it's very difficult. It's person to person basis. I would probably recommend going the safer route of just trying to figure out why you have poor digestion. Do you need probiotics? Are you in fight or flight all the time? Is there a food that you're eating right now that's causing you to have issues? You know, it takes time, but it's better off that way than just going, I'll fast, you know. I didn't take sauerkraut, I took kefir. And I used to eat all the grains. I'll just quickly mention that. But anyway, night, guys. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.